human coexistence, people have engaged in conflicts, both violent and nonviolent, for a variety of reasons. Whether it's the division of groups across geographical, religious, or social class-based lines, or a continuous contest for world domination, or even a power struggle within one nation, humans have always engaged in brutal struggles in order to get what they want. Although global conflicts have existed as long as mankind has, the evolution of weaponry, the rules of warfare, and military strategies have greatly changed the way those conflicts have been dealt with. This is seen in many situations, such as the civil war in Afghanistan, the growing tensions among Pakistan and India, as well as the North Korean crisis. All of these large-scale global conflicts have arisen for different reasons, but what they all have in common is the lasting effect they have all throughout the world.
In Outlook this week, our cover story looks at the latest tensions between India and Pakistan following the Pulwama terror attack and its impact on the upcoming Lok Sabha elections. Indian Air Force strikes inside Pakistan, bombing the Jaish-e-Mohammed training camp at Balakot, where the Pulwama terror attack was planned, has changed the narrative in the country. Words New India, nationalism, and muscular policy are back in the political lexicon in the election season, giving a clear edge to the Saffron Party. With less than 50 days left for the Lok Sabha elections, the controlled war between India and Pakistan is bound to retain center stage in the run-up to the polls. As Wing Commander Abhinandan returns home safely and unconditionally from Pakistani captivity, it is seen as another victory for the Narendra Modi government.
On September 9, 2016, a 5.3 magnitude earthquake was detected here. It was North Korea's fifth nuclear test in a decade and the second this year. It was also the most powerful so far. While military experts suspect North Korea exaggerates its achievements, they agree it has furthered its aim of mounting a nuclear warhead on a ballistic missile. From Kim Il-sung to Kim Jong-il to Kim Jong-un, North Korea has been ruled by a family of aggressive dictators since 1948, each intent on a nuclear strategy that's deepened the nation's isolation, which is why the U.S. currently has nearly 30,000 troops stationed in South Korea, backed with firepower such as Apache helicopters, F-16 fighters, and nuclear-capable B-2 stealth bombers based in the region. Now here's the argument. This could all just be a tactic. North Korea has a long history of escalating and then de-escalating hostilities in order to broker economic and diplomatic concessions.
South Korea, with support from Japan and other nations, will bear most of the cost of providing North Korea with fuel to make up for the nuclear energy it is losing.
Which leaves the US and the world in a tricky position. Most diplomatic situations call for a carrot or stick approach. Unfortunately, with North Korea, neither the carrot in the form of aid nor the stick in the form of sanctions has worked. With none of North Korea's opponents willing to risk a military confrontation over the nuclear issue, the most realistic options are ever stronger sanctions or just to wait for the downfall of the Kim dynasty. Neither is ideal, especially when Kim's erratic behavior, including executing his own uncle, is added to the mix.
A violent dispute is harmful in many ways to everyone involved or near, but there are many other effects that it can have on both the countries involved and its citizens. Disputes amongst countries can have a major impact not only on the front lines, but economically, politically, and even educationally. Countries can be economically impacted by conflict because of the money that is spent on weapons, troops, and rebuilding damaged infrastructure. Conflicts also cause political unrest in countries and can completely stunt the educational growth of a whole generation. No matter how severe the conflict, the impact that it leaves on a country's growth are obvious to see.
These globalized problems have been addressed both internally and by foreign involvement, which can help and hurt the ongoing issue. In many cases, the larger the force is who's trying to solve the problem, a solution is reached easier and more efficiently. However, ironically enough, the more people trying to solve the problem there are, the larger the conflict becomes. Often, peace talks are the method used to address these disputes. Nevertheless, these negotiations vary a lot from one another. Depending on the type of conflict, for example, if it's a civil war, territorial controversy, or war involving several nations, the effectiveness of these meetings will be different. Based on many current issues and the peace discussions used to address them, there is no real definitive answer to the question, what is the best solution? We believe there is no best solution, and that's because the circumstance, the severity of the problem, and the people involved are all different and are all looking to achieve different goals. However, we do believe peaceful negotiations are a much better solution than violently escalating the issue in some way.
The issue of large-scale global conflicts is extremely important because it has such a tremendous effect on every single place on Earth. Whether the effect is economic, educational, or political, countries can have a hard time rebuilding what they previously had. There are a lot of barriers to solving large-scale conflicts because each situation is unique. This issue connects back to nearly all of our previous units due to the fact that there is such a wide variety of global conflicts that are occurring right now. Take both the crisis in North Korea and the Indo-Pakistani conflict, for example. They are both significant ongoing problems, but started from very different issues. The scare of North Korea's increasingly dangerous nuclear stockpile was the same fright occurring during the Cold War when the US and the Soviet Union were competing to have more nuclear weapons at their disposal. The tensions amongst India and Pakistan, however, sprung from British imperialism. As we learned in that unit, once India became free of British control, they decided India was for Hindus and persecuted all Muslims to another area which is now called Pakistan. Tensions have been high since that point.